Silver and gold is not tied to the dollar. Silver and gold has an exchange rate in every different currency.
Talk about some of the consequences if the U.S. were to lose its world reserve currency status. So firstly, the value of the dollar would likely decrease, which leads to higher inflation. Nobody wants that. And even higher interest rates.
Right. If the dollar were to be devalued because it was no longer the reserve currency, your dollars would become pennies.
The thing that we can do, one, vote correctly. Vote better. Vote the right people in. Vote in somebody that knows to deal with this, how to deal with this, even more important, and that they will deal and do what it is that they say they do.
Right.
If you have a politician that has done that in the past, stay with that politician. Vote with that politician. If you got a politician who became rich by being a politician, that's a problem.
Oh, yeah.
If you got a politician who was rich and then became less wealthy because they were a politician, that's somebody who
is good.
Is working for you. I would like to see Dave Ramsey run and go to Congress and everybody freaking listen to him.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a miracle.
Yeah.
And then please go help our country. That's what Donald Trump did. Donald Trump took at least $1 billion hit in his wealth to go, and he went from everybody loves him to half the country hates him. And we're sending billions and billions of dollars to the country that had a prosecutor that Joe Biden insisted you're not getting the $1 billion unless the prosecutor is fired, that was investigating his son. Why didn't you do that for the prosecutor that was investigating the former president, his political rival? If you don't see the hypocrisy and the problem with this, you have a problem being an American.
Everybody's freaking out about the latest round of negative news.
I'm not freaked out, just for the record.
I know you aren't, but we'll tell people why.
Okay.
The source here, and we want to just give a brief amount of perspective, because the news exists to freak us out, scare us. They want pearl clutching, hand wringing. It makes for good ratings, George, and then they can sell those ads for.
Yep, that's true. However, I have legitimate concerns about this. For years and years, one of the reasons why the U.S. dollar has value is because oil was required to be traded in U.S. dollars worldwide. Now, Russia and China are going to be trading it in the yuan, and that's going to be a problem, especially with how much money that we're printing. We could turn into Venezuela. Legitimately, this could happen.
Oh, wow.
This could be a problem. This is one of the number one biggest problems of the Biden presidency. Besides destroying and shutting down our oil pipelines, which is a sanction to Russia. But what is it when you do it on day one for us? Taking us from being energy independent to energy dependent, killing future exploration, because there's a long cycle for oil, and they've cut off the cycle for a long time. We went from being very prosperous to having real problems. And now the world is about to not trade oil on the U.S. dollar. That's a major problem.
Oh, yeah.
The number one strength of the U.S. dollar was that oil had to be traded in U.S. dollars. This is a big issue. And I understand and I agree with the co-host that, yes, the news is out there to scare us, but the news sometimes actually informs us of very important things. This is one of them. And this is something that the news is not promoting enough. This is a problem.
A little bit more money. So the latest is freaking people out about our financial future, specifically the dollar. All right, so you've got, Putin, Vladimir Putin, Mr. Russia over there, and you got Xi Jinping, who is the Chinese premier, and now they're hanging out.
And those two gentlemen, if you can call Vladimir Putin a gentleman, let's just go with that, are extremely smart. They know exactly what they're doing. And we got a lot of politicians who are extremely foolish, and they're only there to get reelected, and they're not really qualified people to be making these decisions. It's a very dangerous situation.
Yeah.
China plays 100-year-long strategies. We play next news cycle strategies, whatever it's going to take so the politician gets reelected. It is a problem in a global competitive society.
It's been a problem for a very long time.
Yes, it
in
has.
our country.
Yes, it has.
Day summit.
They're in cahoots, George.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. And so you got Putin and Xi Jinping hanging out, and they're talking about an alliance to threaten the U.S. dollar.
And you want the direct quote from Putin on this?
Anytime we can hear from Putin, I like to hear from him.
I'm tempted to try my Russian accent, but I think I will offend all people groups in doing so.
Well, if you die mysteriously this evening, we will know why.
Okay, I so badly want to do it. I'm so nervous.
Just do it. It's an entertainment
show. We are in
show.
favor of using the Chinese yuan for settlements between Russia and the countries of Asia, Africa, and Latin America.
What?
He's not doing the worst I've ever heard. No. Okay, keep going.
He's watched too many James Bond movies, but I will applaud for that. That's pretty good.
So there's the quote. He's saying basically they want to switch from the dominant dollar.
Oh, sure.
And move to the Chinese yuan.
Yeah. So
which could hurt America, obviously.
So
it definitely will. There's no question about it. It's a major global catastrophe.
It's an issue.
It is a problem. Mm-hmm. That scares me for my own financial security and the security and safety of this country, even more than a lot of the nonsense that I see.
You got two schools of thought when you see news.
Because here's the thing, violence and things, I can defend myself. How do I defend myself financially about the fact that the money that I have is now worthless? You can find photos in the streets of Venezuela lined with the Venezuela monopoly money. It's worth less than the monopoly money. When you're burning the money for heat because you can't buy energy with the money that's there in the most oil-rich country in South America, Venezuela, but because of what their government did, their money is worthless. Nobody's trading oil on Venezuelan dollars.
So why doesn't our government recognize this, and why do they not learn from other countries?
Because they don't know what they're doing. Because they're bureaucrats.
Someone needs to
and the politicians, as opposed to somebody that's doing something. Here's a clue. If you got a politician who became rich by being a politician, that's a problem.
Oh, yeah.
If you got a politician who was rich and then became less wealthy because they were a politician, that's somebody who
is good,
is working for you.
Yeah, right.
News like this, right? You can go out on the internet and you can see a whole line of articles and opinions saying, this is really scary. They're going to collude. They're going to knock the dollar out, and they're going to take all of our savings. It's just going to be an absolute disaster. And then on the other side, you got just as many experts and economists and people going, you know what? If that were to happen, it would take a very, very long time. China can't do it. They won't do it because they own most of our debt, which that part is true. So the point we're making here is
China would absolutely do something like that. Mm-hmm. They manipulate their own currency constantly. They are very wise competitors, and they are making most of the things that are made in the world, or a lot of the things that are made in the world.
Oh, yeah.
They are not foolish about this.
We're not taking a position on one way or the other, and we're certainly not going to predict doomsday. Okay? What we are going to say is you can control certain things, and
a different president may come in and make that not happen. Mm-hmm. And I am going to be looking for a president that would be talking about something like that. Because, it might take a little while, a long time, but it might actually be real quick. And we're already seeing 8-9% inflation. So that's a problem. It's going to create much more inflation.
Oh, our economy is tanking so bad.
The amount of consumer debt and credit card debt has dramatically increased.
I think it was 1 billion. Now it's 7 billion.
No,
or something.
Trillion.
1 trillion to 7 trillion.
It's
something like that.
Credit card debt in the U.S. hit an expensive milestone this week. Nationwide, it surpassed $1 trillion for the first time ever. Now that's according to new data released by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. The average credit card balance per customer was just over $5,900 in the second quarter of 2023.
And it's concerning.
And isn't that over the last couple of years?
It's over the past 6 to 9 months.
Oh, gosh.
It's a big problem.
Yeah.
It's a major problem. And all that free money that people gave out, that now we're not giving it out, and different things are changing, it's a problem.
Not having debt, let's start there, George, is a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. So let's talk about the consequences. If this ever were to happen, which, by the way, we've got an MSN piece here saying, plans by Russia and China to challenge the dollar on the world stage are going nowhere. Experts say Russia's fragile economy and China's capital controls make both of their currencies less appealing.
Yeah, MSNBC, I trust them about as much as how Jim Cramer said that Silicon Valley Bank was a good buy the day or week before that they went under.
It tanked.
I don't trust MSNBC financial advice about any of that stuff at all. It's a propaganda network, nothing but.
If that gives you any peace.
Right.
Now, let's talk about some of the consequences if the U.S. were to lose its world reserve currency status. So firstly, the value of the dollar would likely decrease, which leads to higher inflation. Nobody wants that. And even higher interest rates.
Right.
Now, here's the interesting part. If you get out of debt and you no longer need to borrow money, interest rates don't affect you as much, do they?
Interest rates don't, but massive inflation and a stagnated economy does. And if you can't make money and if everything becomes just so much more expensive, then your money doesn't do anything. You thought you had a nest egg. You thought you had 6 months worth of expenses in the bank. Turns out you don't have any worth of expenses and your money can't buy anything. It's a problem.
Yeah. So that's why you're saying get out of debt.
Yeah. And I do want to point out, though, George, because this is real, if the dollar were to be devalued because it was no longer the reserve currency, your dollars would become pennies. Now, that is a real... Now, again...
Yes. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm worried about. Your dollars become pennies.
Whether or not this happens or not, but it's not just the interest rates and everything else. It's the value of your money would decrease.
Where it's now $38 to get a gallon of milk. That's a scary scenario.
That's that's real terms right there, where everything... Well, you think inflation is high now. Okay, so, this is a tenuous idea. What could happen?
And it is happening. They're doing it. And our government and the people that are sitting in the seats in Washington are letting it happen.
Not doing anything about it.
Correct.
Don't they realize that affects them too?
It doesn't affect them.
How does it not? I mean, they're going to deal with inflation as well.
No, because they own the printers. They print the money. They get to take care of themselves and their buddies and all of that. They're not worried about that at all. They're worried about, because people give them money for their elections. They just want to be reelected. And then they have the power and they make sure that they're okay no matter what. They don't care. They are letting this happen. And they either don't care or they're just too stupid. I think it's the latter.
It'd really freak you out.
Oh, absolutely.
So again, back to the way we teach in our lifestyle, right? So if you've learned to control your expenses, but this is, by the way, George, you got to be careful here. I got to bring this up. This is the kind of stuff that doomsday preppers, they really jump on.
Yeah, they do. But the thing that we can do, one, vote correctly, vote better, vote the right people in, vote in somebody that knows to deal with this, how to deal with this, even more important, and that they will deal and do what it is that they say they do.
Right.
If you have a politician that has done that in the past, stay with that politician. Vote with that politician. The other is take care of your own personal finances. Get out of debt. $7 trillion or more than that in consumer debt. You've got to get out of debt. You cannot spend money that you don't have. You've got to get that debt and get it paid off. And don't give up. Don't think that, oh, yes, this is so bad and the dollar is going to be worth nothing, so I may as well go into a bunch of debt because it won't matter because we're all screwed. Never, ever do that. Because, yes, this could just be something that's, it's another one of the things. It's water under the bridge. Things happen. We still are the United States. We figure out a way to come back. The people of the United States generally figure out ways to figure this out. We have had the greatest generations, and those things will cycle through. There are people that know and understand how this country was founded and won't give up on that and will bring those fundamental things back and allow everybody to have freedom and have success, and we will figure it out. American ingenuity is still there. We are still a great nation, even with whatever problems that we've got. So are there ways? Yes. Hopefully you will be one that makes wise decisions, takes care of your own finances, and it's that much more important that you do the principles. Go to Financial Peace University, $129, 2 hours a week for 9 weeks. More valuable than my $250,000 law degree that took me 3 years to get. Go to Financial Peace University, follow those steps.
They're like, you got to have 400 cans of green beans. You got to have
and you got to invest in silver and gold all day long.
But here's the
Nope, I don't think silver and gold are going to be the solution to this either.
Problem with that advice. I'm glad you brought that up. The silver and gold are tied to the dollar. So it's not like you just skip the whole.
Silver and gold is not tied to the dollar. Silver and gold has an exchange rate in every different currency. And if the dollar inflates relative to the other currencies, Great Britain pounds, if it's 1,000 pounds for an ounce of gold and it's $1,000 for an ounce of gold, you deflate American currency and all of a sudden it's $100,000 for an ounce of gold, but it's still just 1,000 pounds for an ounce of gold. The ounce of gold still holds its value. That's incorrect. Gold is not and has not been since Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard. The dollar used to be tied to gold, but it's not anymore. And it was so that the Fed can print however much money that they want. And it's an open secret. It's not even a secret. They print money whenever they want to. They print the money. And when you print money and you give it out to people for nothing in exchange, that devalues all the money. When you're exchanging something, I go out, I spend my time and labor, and I create something. Like Lanny Basham created this book. And he says, I will sell you, Dana, this book for $10. And I give him that $10. And he's willing to do that. Well, if the government's giving him money, why would he write the book? If the government is giving me money, why would I go through the hassle of suffering for the sake of our clients to do work as an attorney? Because it ain't easy. And it's a lot. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of knowledge. It's a lot of intellect. It's a lot of energy. It's difficult. Why would we exchange that when we can get money for something here? Right. I get air for free. Thank God. Why would I exchange and do free legal services for somebody to say, well, I'll give you some air in exchange. You want some air? I go, I got air. I got air in abundance. If I didn't have water, I might exchange it for water. Right. Money is a medium of exchange for value for services. And all it is a token. Well, if I say, hey, I'll take $10 for this book, and Lanny has this book, and I go, hey, I want that book. I'll give you $10 for it. And Lanny goes, your $10 isn't worth anything. It's nothing. It's worthless because I can't go buy gold with it anymore. I can't buy anything with it anymore. No one thinks that the dollar is valuable. The only thing that's valuable for is burn it in the fireplace to heat up your house, because you certainly can't buy electricity with it because it costs $3 trillion for 1 minute worth of electricity. Like in Venezuela, or there's African countries where they're like, their 10-cent piece is $1 trillion bill in their country. It's ridiculous. And so if money is worth a different value, then the Great Britain pound might not deflate, and it would be worth more. So what do I want to have my money in? Great British pounds. And I want to have all different types of currency, because if one goes to nothing, then I'll have value and do that. That's called diversification, having your wealth stored in a lot of different things. One thing that you could diversify is, if you're able to own a farm that sustains itself and has animals and your family works on it and you guys can do it and you never have to trade with outside sources, then you're very wealthy. If that makes you happy and that's all you ever need, if you have right now everything that you ever need, awesome. Well, people right now, if you have $10 million, you probably have everything that you ever need. And you can invest that and have $1 million a year, and you live off the million, and you can trade that $1 million for going places, for travel, for food, for buying things, whatever it is. You can trade that. So you have everything that you ever need, and it's in the form of money. Well, if all of a sudden the money's not worth anything, the government has stolen everything that you own because your wealth is in the money, but then the money's not worth anything. What happened to all that energy that you exchanged, all that work that you worked your whole life for? It's just been stolen from you. Why? By a politician who makes a bad deal and who allows something like that to happen and can't figure out how to exert our influence and take care of America first, for example, as opposed to you take care of the rest of the world, and then we're at the end of the line and we're the one paying for all of that, and we're the one sending troops overseas and defending all these other nations because it's good for America, so we have to pay for that. In the meantime, they're going, we don't have to do blood or treasure to protect us. So all the money that we make, we get to keep and become wealthier than those dumb Americans over there. And we don't even have to give our sons and daughters to fight or any of that stuff. And then America's going to pay for that. And now we're taking us off the world currency. So now our money's not even protected from that. And they don't have to pay these rich nations who over the past 20 years, holy cow, has China gotten rich over the past 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
And look at what our politicians have done. And then look what we fight about. TikTok. The TikTok videos that they're sending to our kids are dance videos and dumb videos and gossip videos and all that. You know what TikTok is in China? It's educational videos and learning and how to use electronics and grow themselves and grow their minds. There are a lot of those things in the United States, and kids, stop wasting your mind and your attention and your life and your essence on dumb videos that happen to be entertaining. If you're going to be on TikTok, go on the channels that are educational, that help you learn, that will teach you something and make you better and help you grow, and that you can become wise and know how to do more things. Because the more things you know how to do, the fewer things will ever stop you. And you can live the life that it is that you want. This is one of those channels that we try to be both educational and entertaining.
That's true. TikTok videos, they do have a lot of like Chinese people doing like weird stuff with animals and stuff, like dyeing them, cutting their hair, creating them, making there's one that it's funny, but like they try to give the dog a French fry and the dog refuses. So the dog wants the ketchup and the dog is like pointing to the ketchup, and they're like, and then they try something else and the dog's like, won't take it because it doesn't have ketchup on it. They finally put the ketchup on and the dog eats it. They do that with a lot of different type of food with animals, and it's entertaining to watch, but you're right. They're just trying to make you just watch the stuff over and over again.
Yep. They're trying to get you addicted to the dopamine responses, and it's tough because it's happening to everybody. It's happening to me.
Yeah.
It takes me a lot to not get in and waste a bunch of time. You got to be selective.
Makes
in that
us
stuff.
not productive as a society.
Yeah.
You know?
But there's plenty of stuff that if I want to learn how to do things, there are lots of entertaining and educational videos on there.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great medium for you to learn with, but you've really got to be intentional and protect yourself. Speaking of educational and entertaining, let's see what the rest of this is.
Well, if the dollar crashes, I got a bunch of gold in there, Hills. You know, that doesn't work. It's tied to the dollar.
No, it doesn't. Again, not true.
Yeah.
So this is
It's not tied to the dollar. It's specifically not and hasn't been since the mid 70s, early 70s.
type of thing where there's only so much you can control, and you not having any debt, you not relying on the federal government to bail you out.
I completely agree with that.
Oh, absolutely. And the Washington Post article goes on to say, America's politicians have gotten used to spending seemingly without any concerns about deficits.
That's definitely true.
And that is another piece of this puzzle.
It's a problem.
Is America's got to get on the debt snowball.
They really do.
Smallest to largest, let's go.
Now, you know,
one of the ways that you do that is we have more than 30 trillion. Here's a good way that you can solve that. Deflate the money by 50%, and now it's the only equivalent of us having to pay off 15 trillion. And then deflate that again. Now it's only the equivalent of us having to pay 7 trillion. And what you do is you inflate money so much that, well, yeah, a pack of gum costs $1 trillion. So we've only got 30 packs of gum worth of debt now, right? It's a problem.
Yeah. Huge problem.
And it destroys the economy.
Well, I'm glad you bring this up, because this is, by the way, this is both sides of the aisle here. I want to be an equal opportunity offender. What can the average person do about the potential devalue of the dollar? I don't mean to be cliche, but it's
You only
one
take care of
thing.
your house.
No, you vote.
Oh, yeah.
You vote men and women in there who will go, you know what? I'm going to run on eliminating the national debt.
I would like to see Dave Ramsey run and go to Congress and everybody freaking listen to him.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a miracle.
Yeah. Because he definitely knows what he's talking about.
I think he should be Speaker of the House, because the House is where the budget comes from. And no matter what, we ain't spending it.
It'd be kind of funny. I could just to hear him.
I wish he would do it. I hope that he spends another maybe 5 or 10 years and gets however much money he wants to where he doesn't care and never needs money again. And then please go help our country. That's what Donald Trump did. Donald Trump took at least $1 billion hit in his wealth to go, and he went from everybody loves him to half the country hates him. And the news media all geared up against him, and people that want to destroy this country putting a whole bunch of money and saying all these bad things about him. And now he's been indicted last night on trumped up nonsense charges from a DA who won't prosecute violent crime in their own city that's burning down, and people are fleeing in droves. But they're going to prosecute Donald Trump. Outrageous and nonsensical. Mm-hmm. And they're going to prosecute him because they're afraid that he's going to win. And this is going to make him even that much more popular. And if you didn't think that they're trying to attack our country, now you know, because it's unprecedented in the history of our country. No former president has ever been indicted for anything in this country. And it's abhorrent that that has happened. Everyone in this country, no matter what side that you're on, should be appalled by that. Mm-hmm. And Hunter Biden putting out a tweet that says no one's above the law, says the crack smoker who's never been prosecuted for any of that.
Yeah.
And we're sending billions and billions of dollars to the country that had a prosecutor that Joe Biden insisted you're not getting the $1 billion unless the prosecutor is fired, that was investigating his son. Why didn't you do that for the prosecutor that was investigating the former president, his political rival? If you don't see the hypocrisy and the problem with this, you have a problem being an American.
Yeah, there's a problem.
I mean, forget the rest of politics.
Has anyone ever even attempted
No one's
to run
attempted
on that?
to. Let's just imagine for a second if the American people, a huge
They'd have
swath
my vote.
of the American people said, all right, they're going to run on one issue alone. Forget about all the other issues that are important to you. Boy, I just offended a bunch of people. I just said, what if? What if we had a Congress that said we're up there to actually kill the debt? We're going to pay the debt down. And America is going to be debt-free. For some of you who think this is a preposterous idea, many states in this country have a constitutional amendment where they must balance their budget.
Yep.
So it is doable. There are state governments in the United States right now, by law, they must balance their budget, George.
Florida has a surplus budget, meaning Florida's not in debt. They have more money than they spend, which is what it should be.
Which means they don't have debt. They got to balance it. It can be done.
I like this plan a lot, Ken. And if you're running, you've got my vote.
I'm not, but I will tell you, there's one guy I know that if we stuck him in a room full of people for 30 days, I promise you Dave could get a budget together. Dave Ramsey could put a budget together that would balance the budget.
And what's he waiting on?
Right. Run, Dave,
Please.
run.
Yes.
I'm here for that. I think
doesn't
America's cheering you on.
Look, Dave, I don't want to be in politics. I never want to run for anything. But if you were there, I'd be there. I'd run and try and back you. And God knows that there's at least one politician in Texas that is a problem up there. And we could get this done. Holy cow.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yep.
Right now.
No, I mean, he's not running. But what if we took Dave up there? We made everybody get in the room. They couldn't leave until they agreed to the budget. He came.
Just run, Dave.
Yeah,
Dave.
just run.
Just run. Just run. You guys, send this short viral and send it to Dave. Dave, run. We need to get him on the podcast.
Dave Ramsey for Congress.
Dave, come on the podcast, please, and let me talk you into running for Congress. Look, go 10 years from now, okay? And 4 years worth of it. Just balance the budget for 4 years.
And then become
Actually,
president.
6. Be a senator, maybe. No, in the House or the Senate? Which one? No, he needs to be Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
Speaker of the House so that he can balance the budget. You know, actually, the Speaker of the House doesn't have to be a member of the House. It can be any human being that they elect.
Oh, wow. I did not know
and
that.
So do you think we can get, 435 members of the House
To elect Dave Ramsey?
to elect Dave Ramsey? We only need half of them. They won't do it. They won't do it.
Heck no, they won't do it.
I would turn on C-SPAN to watch that.
Could you see Dave going to D.C., James, with this quickie budget for him? All right, America, we're going to do the quickie budget here, and then we're going to work through this. In 90 days, we're using every dollar. We're going to get the federal budget
I don't know that every dollar would be robust enough, but
Yeah.
balanced.
That's an insane
that really would be every dollar.
asylum for Dave to have to be in that room with those people for 30 days.
He would go nuts.
Oh, yeah. I would go nuts.
I don't think he'd have the patience.
I wouldn't.
I'd sure love to see him try, though.
I don't know if he'd survive.
Yeah, he would, because no one else could talk. He'd love it. He would just tell them how it's going to be.
Give Dave the mic, only his mic stays
Boom.
on.
He's got scissors. He's got the chain. He's got everything. It's all his props. Here's what we're doing. We're not leaving until we balance the budget so we can pay off the federal debt. It's the world's greatest debt snowball.
I love it. Well, hey, I'm sleeping easy at night. I'm not freaked out about this. You shouldn't be either. Focus on what you can control, which is your life, your money, your house.
I completely agree.
Yep.
Don't worry. Don't sit up at night worrying about this. Do what you can. Vote. And then, more importantly, take care of your own house. Be good financially.
And I think we need to hold politicians, like hold them accountable. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Hold them accountable for what they're doing.
Well, when we figure out how to do that, we'll let you know.
Well,
it's who you vote for.
Yeah, it's who you vote for.
And it's very, very much top down. And we need to get somebody in the White House who can make sure that China and Russia aren't taking us off of the U.S. dollar as the world's currency.
Yeah.
Somebody who makes other countries pay for the defense that we're providing them.
That's been a big problem.
And I hope that happens because it's a problem.
America's always been the saving grace for all these other countries.
And we will be again.
Yeah, well, but we should also be taken care of.
We got to be smart about this.
Yeah.
And not pay attention to what's going on in the media, but pay attention to what's really going on to the full extent we can.
Exactly.
And we got to stop spending, giving away free stuff to everybody.
Right.
There is no such thing as free stuff. And as we went through COVID in 2020 and saw how giving away money to people for nothing,
it made people not want to go back to work.
And does not work and creates problem after problem after problem. And that there is no such thing as a free lunch.
And we're still dealing with issues
and
for
paying
people
for that.
not going back to work.
So take care of your own finances and like and subscribe. This is the Lawyer Dana Show.